Hi, it's Annabelle with the Solar Flare DZTV live with the Zebra Press. We're here at St. Elmo's in Delray for the candidate forum.
So as we discussed, we'll start with a 2-minute opening statement, and then I will close with one close in reverse order. So if you could call, Sandy's asking you to move that direction.
They didn't even see it. Where's it live?
The Zebra Press.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Please share it. We're live on the Zebra Press Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
If you want to tell somebody.
So Zebra Press knows that I was asking you, I have chocolate on my face?
We're live right now. So
public's gotta know.
if you want to pass that around, and just tell people we're live on that. Live on the Zebra Press with my migraine.
Well, let me see. So can they hear on that side of the restaurant? If you can lift your hand, raise your hand if you can hear me. Awesome. Okay. And way in the back. Can you hear me in the back? Yell, hey, I can hear you. Awesome. Okay.
Hey, Larry.
If you're out there, please make a comment for me and share this. This is very last minute. Thank you.
And with that, welcome to the 2026 special election for Alexandria City Council Democratic Forum, sponsored by the Delray Business Association. My name is Dan Roth, and I'm the Vice President of the Delray Business Association. First of all, I was thinking how appropriate it is that on President's Day, when we celebrate leaders and democracy, that here in the heart where that happened, we had dozens of people who are turning out for a special election forum for Alexandria City Council. So first of all, everyone who's on the board of the Delray Business Association, raise your hand. A huge round of applause for everyone, and especially my colleague Rick Schneider, who was instrumental in working with me to put this together. We have some elected officials in the room. If you could stand so I make sure I don't miss anyone who will want to join the ranks. I see Delegate-elect Kirk McPike, Councilmember John Chapman, Councilmember Janet Aguirre, and am I missing anyone? School Board. Tim Beatty, thank you very much. And Chris Harris in the back. Chris Harris, excellent. So we're going to applaud all of the candidates here when they finish. But most importantly, I want to thank Christine and Larry Ponzi, the owners of St. Elmo's. Because they stayed open late to make sure that this could happen. And anytime that we ask them, their answer not only is yes, but how can we be more helpful? And I think that speaks to the spirit of Delray and the heart of Delray, that the small business owners are constantly doing what they can do to make sure that we can gather like this. So a huge round of applause for their staff and them for enabling us to do that. Thank you so much. And so with that, tonight's debate is going to be moderated by Alexandria Now, James Cullum. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and he will run over the rules of the debate and talk about that. And then other than that, let's have a good discussion.
It's a collaborative issue. It's a collaborative group.
Good evening.
Zebra and ALX Now.
I'm James Cullum of Alexandria Now, and I want to welcome you and the 5 candidates running in the City Council Democratic Firehouse primary on Saturday, February 21st. It's right around the corner. Before us tonight, we have, in no particular order, Sandy Marks, Roberto Gomez, Tim Lauterak, Caesar Madison Tapia, and Charles Sumter. This is the first forum featuring all 5 candidates in person like this. Let's give them all a round of applause. As mentioned, this debate is being brought to you by the Delray Business Association. Thanks to St. Elmo's Coffee Pub for allowing us to use this venue after they've closed for business. To the audience, let's try to keep applause, boos, all sorts of expressions to a minimum during this forum. We don't have a lot of time. Before you know it, it's going to be 8:30 and we'll have spent half the time clapping. So we can support the candidates with another resounding applause at the end of the night. I would appreciate it. And hi, candidates.
Hello.
Hey. You have 2 minutes to make your opening statements, and then we'll dive into discussions. The nice thing about having a single microphone at your table is that you won't be talking all over each other, and you'll have to raise your hand to be recognized. On the timing, Dan Roth here will notify you when you have 1 minute left in your responses, when you have 30 seconds left, and then when you're done. Tonight, I'm going to have a discussion with you all. Please try to limit your responses to 1 minute. And then, it's not going to be like, okay, you. It's going to be like, I have this question. Who wants to start it off? Who wants to take the mic? And then that person's going to take it for 1 minute. That opening initial statement is going to be 1 minute. You'll all have 1 minute to address this question. If you have follow-ups, you can talk for 30 seconds. At the conclusion of the debate, there will be 1 minute closing statements. So, if we could all be quiet in the back, we're having a forum in here. Thank you very much.
Please share.
Welcome to Alexandria's Delray neighborhood candidates, the home of art on the avenue, the Delray Christmas tree and menorah lightings, the Halloween parade, bar crawls, and so much more. If you're looking for yoga, mental health counseling, a solid hardware store, excellent bars and restaurants, right next door to a bustling residential neighborhood, Delray is a nice place to visit. In fact, a few of you live in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And can attest to the changing nature of the neighborhood over the last 20 years. As a significant revenue generator for the city, what are some capital improvements that the city should be prioritizing for this area? While we've got bike lanes, safer crosswalks, and more projected to come to Braddock Road, there's also some inconsistent or non-existent lighting on Mount Vernon Avenue. So let's talk about some improvements. We are in the business district, the heart of it, in St. Elmo's right now. What can we do to make things easier for businesses along these lines? Who's taking it off? Oh, actually, I have to apologize. We have opening statements. And put a pin in that big question I just asked, because we're going to start with Charles Sumter. I'm sorry, we're going to start for 2 minutes. Charles Sumter, please take it away.
Thank you, James. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here at the forum. My name is Charles Sumter. I know some of you, but I don't know everyone here in the city. And so I give greetings from the West End, where I live. Those of you that know me know that I'm a New York City born and raised native. I was born in the South Bronx to two parents who were union workers. My mom was a nurse and my dad was a superintendent. And if you're from New York or a big city, a super is someone that fixes the building and lives in the building. And that was what my dad did. Together, they worked to put me and my sister through college. And whatever they had, we put some student loans and scholarships. And that's what we did to survive. Beyond my family, my community, there was no safety net to capture me or my family or my sister if we fell down. And so when I talk about affordability, it's not some slogan, it's my life. It's how I was raised. It's how I grew up. And so I take that very personal. So I saw that when I came to this region. Worked on Capitol Hill, worked for a DC City Council member, came to Northern Virginia and saw that there were students that I would come in contact with through mentoring who were LGBTQ, who were thrown out of their homes, who had no jobs, who had no prospects. And so I helped to found a nonprofit called Safe Space Nova, which provided care to literally thousands of kids across this region. Some of them are in this neighborhood. So that's why I'm in this race, about affordability and about our kids. Thank you.
And candidates, don't be shy. Stand up if you want. We got a packed house. Folks can't necessarily see where you're sitting, and I hope that everybody can hear you. Caesar Madison Tapia, please take it away. You have 2 minutes for your opening statements.
Hey everyone, thank you for having me here. To a lot of you, I am new. To many of you guys, I'm young, and both are true. I am from Mexico originally. I was brought here by my single mother and my 2 older sisters who we came here undocumentedly, and by the grace of God, now I am a U.S. citizen. I served time in the United States Army, and now I am an educator. How I got there, who knows? Anyway, guys, I got into this race not because of politics, but because of my life experience. I see what is going on in our neighborhoods, how ICE is going to start attacking us, especially with a new administration, Democratic administration. And I said, hey, it's time to act. Every day, I've had 2 years of experience of being a teacher, and I can tell you firsthand when I see these children, brown and black kids, coming to my classroom telling me, hey, Mr. Madison, what are we going to do? That really does hit home. And I cannot sit quiet when there's also people being bombed across the world, and nobody dares speak about it. When we talk about affordability, it's not a buzzword to me. I live that. I'm a renter of this city. And at the end of the day, this election is about you. Affordability means different to seniors. Affordability means different to renters. Affordability means different to you guys who happen to be small business owners here. I lived in Alexandria for 3.5 years now. To a lot of people, it's like, well, what do you really know about Alexandria? But what I do one thing is that this community does help each other out. And I'm blessed to be here in front of you guys today. Thank you.
Want to remind everybody to please speak loud and in the microphone. Some folks in the back can't hear you. Tim Laterack, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the DRBA for hosting this. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Tim. I'm from a small town in Ohio. Alyssa and I moved here with the Navy about 9 years or so ago, and I think that's about the time I got this T-shirt. It was this organization and the Delray Citizens Association that were our welcome to the community. Before really any boxes were even unpacked, we found ourselves volunteering on a Rebuilding Together project right here in this neighborhood. And that's what drew us in to this neighborhood. It was seeing neighbors helping neighbors, experiencing the fabric of this community made up by the small businesses and the citizens coming together to get stuff done. And from that point, I joined the Delray Citizens Association, becoming president of the Citizens Association. What a doozy. Lots of stuff goes on at our Citizens Association, but that's importantly because it's all what affects us here and it makes up that fabric of our community. It is these development proposals that we look through and we try to determine how does it fit with our community. It is all of the events that we put on together to bring people together and to make a space here where we can experience and enjoy it. That is my entry into Alexandria, and that is what draws me to run. It is wanting to see that model replicated throughout all of Alexandria. We see that living here becomes more and more difficult for people every day. That's the affordability, that's how the government works for us and by us and through us, and I want to take all my experience to council so that we can keep it working for you. Thanks.
Who's next on that? We have Roberto Gomez. Ladies and gentlemen, Roberto Gomez.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Roberto Gomez. I'm a longtime Alexandria resident and a small business owner and the founder and executive director of an award-winning nonprofit. And I can go on and on about why I entered this race. Some of you might have seen that the tipping point was when my kids got shot on January 28th in Old Town and witnessed a man die. And those things need to change. But let me talk about why I'm here. And why I'm here is because I understand what it's like to be a small business owner. I understand what it's like to have a bad month and still have to pay people. I understand the challenges of navigating small business ownership in the city of Alexandria. And that's what I hope to get into tonight. For those of you who wish to learn more about why I'm running, trying to be conscious of the time, please visit my website, robertoforcouncil.com, and I'm ready to get into this debate. Thank you.
I need to stand up. I got the stunky chair. So 8 minutes? No? Okay. Hi, I'm Sandy Marks. It is so nice to be here. Hi. In Delray, my home. I first moved to Alexandria 23 years ago, believe it or not, and moved to Delray in 2005. But I've been chair of the Alexandria Democratic Committee for the past 4 years, and so many people have no idea that I live here because I have walked every single neighborhood in Alexandria, Virginia. I've knocked on doors in every single precinct in this town, and am really, really proud to have done so. I am originally from the woods north of Tampa in Florida. I spent my childhood in the back of a car, commuting to and from the good schools and the jobs with benefits. We ate a lot of meals in the back of the car. I am in this race because I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about public funding or public school education and funding for our public schools. I would like to be the ACPS parent of the 6 people on City Council. A third of our budget goes to the schools. I would like to have a parent voice on council. I would like to be that voice. Number 2, I'm really interested in housing affordability. Like I said, I grew up in the backseat of my mom's car. Single mother, we drove to and from school. That's where we lived. That's where we ate. We lived in apartments that were affordable on a secretary's salary. I understand how important transit connectivity is to our families. Our families should be able to get to and from work and school and home in time to eat dinner at a table. Number 3, expanding our equitable programs and providing more access to those. I hope we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that in terms of what access to programs means for our small business owners. Also, equity for me, a big thing that I really want to talk about there is climate justice. I hope to be a sure thing on climate on council. And obviously, last and certainly not least, defending democracy, protecting our immigrant neighbors and LGBTQ neighbors from abuse from our federal government. Those are the 4. Thank you.
Well, going back to my, thank you very much, Sandy. And I think we have all the candidates have made their opening statements. Now, going back to that first question that I started on, and we have, hopefully, the candidates on stage have seen so many of the events that Delray has to offer, what this community has done to become an economic generator for the city. And so at the same time, as I mentioned, we have areas of Mount Vernon Avenue that are dark, that don't have streetlights. We have sidewalks and streets that have, had issues with getting plowed and getting shoveled and getting, so we also have in the Braddock Road area a little bit of a controversial plan, taking away parking along large swaths of Braddock Road and replacing it with bike lanes. So please, talk to me about some capital improvements that the city should be prioritizing for this area. It's going to be affecting businesses throughout Delray. Who's starting it off for me? Roberto Gomez, you've got a minute.
Thank you. I want to say I'm no stranger to Delray. I shop here. I even volunteer at the APD cookouts right here at Mount Vernon Rec Center. I think we could be investing in Delray, and Delray is not just a business corridor. It's an economic engine for the city of Alexandria. Been punching above its weight class for a long time now. And besides the pedestrian lights that have been on hold for the better part of 2 decades, I think we could even probably be putting some pretty lights like the Christmas lights going down King Street. I think we should be investing around here to make this a tourist attraction as well. Alexandria is a beautiful place, and I think that we could be investing in multiple places around the city the same way we do King Street and Old Town.
Anybody else want to show the love to Delray? All right, Tim Laterack.
Well, you kind of stole my thunder there with the pedestrian lights. I think Pat Miller would be remiss if we didn't mention that on this panel. So beyond getting that into the capital improvement plan or some other plan, I think also, what we've learned from Delray Citizens Association, inviting the APD out and really examining the traffic and safety issues we have, we really need to make our streets safe for everyone. You mentioned the bike lanes, but really along Mount Vernon Avenue, I want to see safer intersections because we continue to see additional car accidents and close calls with bikes, with pedestrians. There's much work to do along our avenue to make it a safer place that will bring more people here and keep them coming.
Charles Sumter. Now, you all remember, please speak up into the mic, and if you want to stand up, people in the back might not be able to see you.
Because I didn't stand before. I'll stand now. The biggest concern for me when I come to Delray, whenever I come here and shop or eat, is the intersections. Because if you're driving, you can't see the cross streets, who's coming out, if there's someone walking, if there's another car. And I'm always like, I hope to God I could just go through and nothing's going to happen. That's not the way we should be living in the city. That's not the way we should be, that's not how we should be driving. We have seniors, we have kids, persons with disabilities. All those people are in our community. And so if we could widen Mount Vernon Avenue or some way, which would probably take a long time and be expensive, that's what I want to focus on.
Anybody else want to address this? Caesar Madison Tapia.
Hey everyone, so you may notice I'm a little sweaty up here right now. So I decided to take the bike from the West End, across Braddock Road, and all the way here to Delray to see myself. And we do need major improvements on Braddock Road. Now, this is not to say, hey, we know parking in this city could be a mess, but we have areas where we can prioritize parking, such as a school. Why don't we open that up to consumers like myself who travel from the West End all the way over here? We have Braddock Station over here. We can make improvements there. There are areas where we can put parking areas and have consumers like me go and park and come here. I like to call Delray a little Hallmark town whenever I explain it to my folks down south. And I love it. But when we have cars parking in front of your business, don't you think that takes away the beauty of this small little village that we got going on here? We have the space and parking. We have to prioritize that. And yes, with the light situation, with current council, that should be a major issue. With snow and plow. I come from the West End, where some of our roads aren't even plowed to this very moment. You can ask my beautiful girlfriend over there. In Fox Chase, we did 42 parking lots. Me and her. We also did intersections.
Okay, that's one.
But anyway, thank you guys.
All right, we got Sandy Marks.
Hi. As somebody who lives in the neighborhood, I have opinions about this, of course. Respectfully, we are not going to widen Mount Vernon Avenue. And there are some limits to what council can do. There are some public-private issues with adding parking for retail for our schools. So those are not things that I would support. What I will say is that I'm a big proponent of bicycle and pedestrian safety. And in Delray, we have incredible businesses. We have lots of restaurants, and the business gets diluted. We have workers who need to park to work at the restaurants. And that is something that sometimes comes into conflict with bike and pedestrian safety and bike lanes, which I support. So I appreciate all of these answers. I think that the real capital improvements I would like to see are actually working with school board. Cora Kelly needs a new building. It needs to be renovated. It's been deferred for a long time. George Washington, Jefferson Houston, we're talking about retrofitting Jefferson Houston for smaller kids. These are things I'd like to talk through.
Okay, that's 1 minute. Now, candidates, we are all now, I'm sorry to say, intimately familiar with Snowcrete. And how would you rate the city's recent snow response? What should have happened here? And starting things off again is Roberto Gomez. What should have happened here with the city's snow response? How would you rate that snow response?
Oh, that's an easy one. We should have given everybody flamethrowers. Just kidding, though. I think the city council has done a wonderful job. I think this was unexpected. There was no way to prepare for this. I think we've learned a lot. I think we can prepare for it next time. And again, flamethrowers. So,
the recent frost, the recent snow, the city has been getting some criticism about its snow response. Anybody else want to touch on this? Well, you got the mic, Charles Sumter, take it.
This snowstorm was unprecedented, and there are going to be more storms like this every year. These 500-year storms we used to talk about, they're going to be every year. And so I think the city did the very best that it could with the resources and timing that it had. Now, there's always going to be places where it's not plowed. There's always going to be ice. There was ice, literally ice. A shovel's not going to get that. And so the city, I think, did a great job. There's always things that could be done better, right? So I want to look at our climate resilience plan for the future to see if there are things that we can prepare for like this in a much more efficient way.
Tim Laterack?
So I wasn't in the room when they were discussing the plan, so I can't really fully critique the strategic plan. I just think from the mind of a Navy officer, that was my background, and trying to think of a strategy to address any potential operational issue that we have to. So I would want to fully examine what that plan was to see if we executed on that plan well. But what I will say is from talking with mobility impaired individuals, from individuals that use our sidewalks and our bus stops, I think there was more opportunity that we could have prioritized the bus stops and the sidewalks and really have to re-examine the responsibility to clear those because we didn't clear them fast enough.
Caesar Madison Tapia, you talked about your neighborhood in the West End being unplowed even today as snow was getting melted by a little bit of rain. Talk to us about your experience. What could the city have done better here?
I personally do think the city and the city council meant great intentions with helping out, especially the mayor too. I just think more transparency to letting the citizens know. Because when you talk to people out there, like today when I was out there, they think we did a horrible job.
More transparency? What do you mean?
More outreach on this. What was actually going on? Not just, videos every once in a while. And, he to Tim's appointment, we also plowed, we were also shoveling away, bus stops for people. People were coming and thanking us for, hey, we have a 2-hour delay, but our road isn't even plowed. Kids, we have to worry about that, and as a teacher, that worries me. I always put students first. And we talk to the actual citizen. This is why I keep telling y'all, this campaign's about you guys. When I talk to y'all, dude, the feedback is oh my gosh. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, hey, city council, you did a great job, when citizens are feeling, a different thing.
Thank you. Sandy Marks, talk to us about the recent storm. What do you think about how the city performed and what could have been done better? Give us your thoughts.
Most of what I wanted to say has been covered, so let me focus on something else, which is the treatment of our public servants in relation to this catastrophe. We had so many people online really expressing vitriol for the mayor, for the city council, for people who were working really hard to try to literally dig us out of this mess. And what I noticed when I went outside of my home and dug out with my neighbors, many of whom I see here, we all helped each other, was as soon as people walked out the door and looked in the eyes of their neighbors, they felt a lot better. I would love to see the sort of community resilience we experience here in Delray and in walkable, retail-based communities where we see each other. I would really like to see more of this in the city. I think, look, we did the best we could. We could have done better, but what we need to realize is that all of the money we just spent on this project now has shrunk our already decreasing, our already shrinking pie. So as we move forward tonight talking about what we're spending on, we need to realize that.
Okay, that's a minute. And let's talk affordability. We keep hearing about affordability all over the place. Now, as far as some people believe the path to more affordable housing means creating more housing in general, more apartment buildings, more townhomes, and that prices go down when there are more units. And what do you think about that? Tim Laterack.
Yes, it's a supply and demand thing. It's basic economics. You increase the supply of housing, that will decrease the cost of housing. But we also have to move beyond just the raw cost of housing when we think about affordability. Affordability is an equation. It's housing costs and transit costs, access to health care, access to child care. It's all of these things together. So we really have to view affordability through a systems lens. We can't just say we need another apartment building. We have to be sure that when we build that, we are building it in a place that is connected to transit, that is connected to reliable and frequent transit so that people will use it, that can get to a good quality childcare and actually access the healthcare that they need. So it's all an equation, so that's what we mean by affordability.
Anybody else want to talk about? Roberto Gomez, take it away.
Supply and demand is true, but if we're talking about affordability and building more units at current market rate, we're only assuming for the people that can already afford to live here. There's a job portion of this. There's a workforce component of this. When we talk about affordability, we have to have the jobs, and we also have to think about what that looks like when federal workers are laid off and they're no longer patroning businesses, and how that impacts employees that are working at businesses that live in the city. It's a very complex issue. It's not one-dimensional. It's not one thing we're going to do that's going to solve everything. There's a lot of components here that are going to require us to come together and work together across agencies to fix the problems. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Anybody else want to talk about this? Charles Sumter?
Yeah. Housing policy is workforce policy. If people, firefighters, nurses, teachers can't live in the community that they work in, then what are we doing? And so we have to take a thoughtful approach to housing. It is a supply issue. I'm a big supporter of having, the middle, duplexes in different sort of buildings, not big high rises in a small neighborhood. They need to fit in with the character of that particular neighborhood. And I think by bringing in different types of housing designs, we have more people, we bring more people in who can actually work and live in the community that they live in.
Sandy Marks, take it home.
Take it home. Home, see what you did there. Okay. I agree that this is an issue of scarcity pricing. So we need more supply to drive down the cost of houses. What I will say that is maybe sort of contrary to some of the previous comments is that we do need to be building at all price points. Obviously, we need to be creating housing for very low AMI, right? So that people can afford to live in houses who otherwise would be priced out. Also, we need housing at prices that someone who is already in the market can move into to free up the houses that cost less. It's very important to have a variety so that we can move people through this stream of homeownership. The vast majority of kids in Alexandria, 80% of them, live in aging apartment complexes, like me. If we can free up some of these smaller homes, if we can move people into homes that are larger or in different neighborhoods, if we can add transit near people, if we can start understanding and recognizing that there should be no neighborhood in Alexandria that is exempt from creating more housing. There are some places in Alexandria that haven't been touched for decades. These are the things I would like to think about.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sandy. And along those lines, I'm wondering about what is your thinking on economic development in the city, because Alexandria, we're kind of running out of land here. We don't have a lot of places to build stuff on. And so Alexandria faces a structural tax imbalance, with residential properties providing about 82% of the city's revenue. So yeah, you say we need to build more housing, but with more and more offices converting to residential, because that's where the money is, the city's office and business market is seriously challenged. What needs to happen to offset that, to reduce some of these taxes? Some kind of arena-sized deal? Who wants to talk about this? Come on. Caesar Madison Tapia.
I didn't get a chance to go last time, but when we talk about affordable housing, we don't just put us in a box and put a toilet there and then call it affordable housing. I think when we talk about affordable housing, we also have to talk about the people who are going to inherently be here for a while. And I'm talking about our youth. I'm talking about people who are in their early 20s, who are just getting out of college, and they actually want to make a living here in Alexandria, who I speak to every day and talk to me back, right? In the terms of, yes, there is barely any space in Alexandria. You're 100% right. But this city should not just be a spot where I come here to go to George Mason University, and then when I'm out, I'm out. We have an identity, and that identity is being together as a community, holding each other back. To what Sandy said earlier, when we got hit by the snowstorm, who did we rely on the most? Our community. So if we don't start having these conversations and being more transparent on what we're actually doing, especially with people who are going to inherit this city, we're just going to be countlessly debating each other on what we're going to do and run circles. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Laderack, please.
I'm glad you raised the question, James, because this is really one of the big things that I want to focus on council. We have an income problem in the city, and I write about this in one of my Substacks. So if you're interested in my longer than 1 minute response, I encourage you to check out my Substack on my website. But you're right. We can't expand our land base any longer. So we have to look for our good core commercial development spaces on Eisenhower and Potomac Yard, so that we can really diversify our tax base and make sure we have the commercial development we need so we can afford the progressive future that we keep promising our residents. And so how do we do that? We can look into verticals, so particular areas of the economy sector, whether it be clean agriculture or healthcare technology, robotics. There are certain things that we can look into that marries our proximity to Washington, the nonprofits and things that we have in the area, and also some of the government sector that we have right here in Alexandria.
Sandy Marks, you're right next to the mic. You might as well.
James, can you repeat the question? I feel like we've gotten a variety of answers, and I want to just make sure.
I'm trying to understand, what is your thinking on economic development in the city? We just talked about needing to have more housing. At the same time, there is a big tax imbalance with residential paying for a majority of the city's revenue, and so it's getting really expensive to live in Alexandria, and residents want to pay lower taxes, but that, does that mean in an arena-sized deal? What is your thinking on economic development, Sandy?
I'm sorry, I got stuck on the room with a toilet, Caesar. I was like, what? Okay, so what I love about the ALX Forward plan that's just recently been released is that it really focuses on place-based retail and community. It focuses on creating places like Old Town, like Del Rey, where people can come, can shop, can be tourists, can live, and can participate in community with retail. I would really, really like to see that expand. I'm very interested in that program. I do think that we're doing some really great things with Virginia Tech, with the Innovation Campus, and with ACPS in creating a strong workforce that can bring businesses to Alexandria. I would also love to point out that women are really making incredible advances in grad school. We are really well represented now in vet school, med school, pharmacy school. And we are making huge strides in areas like tech and manufacturing. I would love to see some women-owned businesses, maybe some programs that bring women-owned businesses into Alexandria. We know that women are excellent at making community. Thanks.
Roberto Gomez, talking about your economic development philosophy for Alexandria.
I do agree that we have relied heavily in the past on the residents to carry a lot of the tax burden in our city. I also believe that economic development isn't just about landing the next big employer. Our small businesses still have to survive and thrive.
A little closer to your mouth.
How about now? Am I good? Everybody good? Okay, so as I was saying, it's not just about landing the next big employer, although we do need to bring in some commercial revenue. We need to ensure that our small businesses are thriving and have the tools they need to survive. It's making sure our infrastructure grows responsibly, right? It's making sure our economic development partnership has the tools to compete. We have a lot of smart people in this city. I think we can figure it out. I would encourage looking towards the future in regards to what new and exciting and innovative business looks like and how to support our already existing small business community.
Charles Sumter.
My philosophy is more of a sequence, right? I would want to look at, first, what are we spending on services in the city now? Are they efficient? Are they improving services? Are there things that we shouldn't be spending money on currently? So I would want to look at that. Other regional partnerships, public-private partnerships that we should be exploring. Where is the additional dollars at the state level and the federal level? All of this before we get to raising taxes in Alexandria. I think we should make those considerations first before we talk about raising another dollar in tax in the city.
Tim, did you touch on this before? You got 30 seconds, big guy.
That's great. Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Sandy for highlighting pharmacy school. As a pharmacist myself, I think that's really cool. But also, mentioning the ALX Forward plan, there's so many plans that we have going on in the city. I want to see these plans come to fruition. Another one is our Duke Street land use plan. Great plan. If you haven't looked into it, there's community engagement going on right now. The opportunity to have that place-based experience all along Duke Street. So make sure to check that out. We can talk after.
30 seconds exactly. That's amazing. Many Alexandria business owners feel that the 5% beverage and meals tax shouldn't go toward the city's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, that the burden of paying for affordable housing shouldn't fall on them. So, are you happy with the meals tax? And should small businesses be shouldering this burden to finance affordable housing? Who wants to take this one on? Okay, Roberto Gomez.
Look, this is a complicated one. We're already running at a deficit, right? But we still have to provide services. And we live in a society where we are civilized. At least sometimes I question that now on a federal level. But we are here in the city of Alexandria, and we have a responsibility to take care of our neighbors. And I think that there's ways that we all have to pitch in. I mean, is there a way to revisit this and consider it a different way? Sure. Will I know that until I have the data in front of me when I'm sitting on city council? Probably then. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Charles Sumter, going down the line.
I do support the meals tax. I know it's very controversial when it passed, but that thing supports affordable housing. It is another dedicated stream of funding that doesn't have to come out of City Hall, right? It comes from a different source. So I think it's a vital tax to support our city. This is a community, and if that's what it means to all of us, we all need to support them. That includes the business community as well.
Caesar, you want to take a shot?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
If I was running, and I couldn't give you an answer, then why the hell am I running, right? No, I do support it. It does hurt. When I first moved to Alexandria City, I remember seeing my receipt and being like, damn. But no, it does take a community effort in order for us to support people who are in affordable units and affordable housing. And I'm all for it. It does take a village. As somebody who's a teacher, I will tell you, it does take a village to get a lot of things done. So I do support it.
Tim and Sandy, you want to take this one on? Yeah. All right, Tim Laterack.
Okay. So I think that, so I'll just go back. Last week, I walked the Avenue with Pat Miller, talked with lots of business owners about what are the real issues that they're seeing today, what are they experiencing, and how can we do better. And I was talking with a restaurant owner who mentioned the meals tax, and it hurts their, potentially hurts their bottom line. I mean, it's just something else that a consumer has to consider in the overall cost of goods. So do I like the meals tax? I mean, as a consumer, really not. But as a practitioner and understanding our reality, where we are, like I said, we have an income problem. So we have to look to sources where we can get the income to do the things we want to do in the city. But that brings us back to the commercial development question, and having to really make sure we expand that tax base so we can have the reliable income stream so we're not always having to go back to the same wells, whether it be the meals tax or residential property tax. So do I like it? No, but it's one of the necessary things that we have to consider if we really want to accomplish our goals on something like affordable housing.
Sandy?
Hello. Do I love it? No, of course. Nobody wants to ask people for more money, and nobody wants to put more of the financial burden on the restaurants. I mean, many of you here from DRBA, know me from representing a restaurant group on DRBA. I'm very well aware of the impact that these decisions have on local and small businesses. And we make community values-based decisions, and then we have to stick to them. We have made all kinds of decisions about who we want to be. We've made tough decisions. We've voted on them and we've settled them, and now we are stuck with them. We have one high school. There's another example. So we make these decisions and then we follow through on them. Sure, we can second guess them all we want. And if we need to speak to our representation, there are plenty of people in the room now. I support it. I believe very strongly in affordable housing, and I think we should stay committed to that. I also want to point out that, are you done?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Oh man, I got a good one, Dan. Okay.
Sorry. All right. Now, if you want to wait a second, you can get 30 seconds because Roberto Gomez wanted to say something real fast. Roberto, so put a pin in yours, Sandy. Come back for 30 seconds. Roberto, you got 30 seconds.
Sure.
Roberto Gomez.
Okay. Well, really quickly, I just want to say I work in these vulnerable communities. Okay. I know what people go through, but I also know that we can be providing strong opportunities to create a strong workforce in these same communities. I was a participant in the workforce development programs through Office of Workforce Development, where they send people that want to work. I think we can get better at the professional development prior to them coming into working, but there's opportunities to make this work for everybody.
Sandy, you want to have that final 30 seconds to have that good one?
Yes. Yes, I do. Don't start yet. Okay, you ready?
Go.
All right, here we go. I want to raise to everybody's consciousness that on April 21st, one of these people are going to be on the ballot with a constitutional referendum to redistrict the Commonwealth of Virginia to help our friends in the United States House of Representatives out and to stop Trumpism in the United States of America. Someone up here will be doing that. I would like to welcome Frank Fannin, who is a Republican who will be running to oppose one of us, who opposed a lot of the waterfront development that brings in a volume of consumption tax from hospitality and retail that are vital to this community and pay for things that we don't have to. So think about that as you're listening to the crowd.
Thank you, Sandy. It's been 2025 sure was interesting, and with thousands of federal workers facing income loss from getting doged to furloughed, how can Alexandria support local businesses during this strain on the local economy? It has hurt in a lot of ways. I talked to one small business owner who has been hiring federal workers who were furloughed. So what can the city do to help local businesses feeling the strain? You have people who are impacted by this. They're not going to restaurants. They're not shopping. And it has a huge impact. Looking down the line. Okay, go to Tim Laderack.
We're all trying to be polite.
Don't be polite. Go.
So back to my walk with Paddle on the Avenue. One of the things that I heard from small business owners was just some of the complexities of something as basic as navigating a permitting process within the city. So I think there's a lot of whole host of things that we could be doing to support small business owners. But I think something as basic as helping them understand, what does that process look like? How do we get through that process more efficiently and transparently so that they can spend more time focusing on what they do best, which is servicing all of us, providing the goods and services that they do. So I think that is one potentially small thing that we can do to support business that's back to the basics and helping them do their business better.
Roberto Gomez.
I wouldn't be able to say what the city could do as of right now, but what I would do is open up the line of the communications and bring in the business community and create a design that works for the business community with them involved in the conversation as it's actively happening.
Charles, you want to take a shot? Charles Sumter?
I do. One of the biggest concerns I've heard from friends who are federal employees who were let go is they didn't know where to go to look up jobs, right? So is there a way, to Roberto's point, around communication about where are we posting? Where are these opportunities? Do we have a whole big thing at City Hall where people can come in and find the jobs and small businesses can find talent, whether it's temporary, whether it's long term. But we have to think about our workforce development policy, and I think it starts as a community, all of us together, but being a central sort of repository of information so people know where to go to find a job, or to find temporary work, or to find temporary staff to support their small business. I think we get that, tying that knot together helps businesses and also our residents.
The recent shutdown hurt the region It really hurt the region. Anybody else have thoughts about this? Sandy, you want to take it? Take it, Sandy Marks.
I was working with a restaurant down the street and was watching federal employees with PhDs come in and ask for jobs behind the counter. This is a very real thing that touches individuals and also touches the businesses that are doing their best to offer free food and free support. there are a lot of things that we can do for small businesses to help them save some money. I mentioned before that I'm very much interested and into climate resilience. We just passed an incredible green building plan in Alexandria. And I know that a lot of businesses are very concerned when they hear about some of the things that need to be implemented. They're very concerned about how they will pay for and accommodate those needs. I started my career in constituent services with United States Senator Bob Graham. I handled Social Security issues that people were having and helped expedite those services. I would love to offer myself as a constituent services specialist on City Council. Somebody in a restaurant that is asked to put to spend $20,000 on an elaborate timer system and switch system for everything in their business with a light, understanding that refrigerators have lights and can't go on timers.
Okay.
We need to have somebody they can talk to work those things out and save some money.
That's a minute. Anybody else want to touch on this? All right, Caesar Madison Tapia.
Hey everyone. So
Talking about furloughed federal workers, talking about what the city can do to alleviate this burden.
Yeah, so the city, what I've seen so far as a concerned citizen and everything, I've seen the city put up career fairs. I've seen the city put up a bunch of fairs, whether it be Representative Don Byer doing it or some of the city council members. I do love that idea and keep bringing it up. And I know, it sucks. You go from working at Capitol Hill or working at a federal government, now you're working at a small business. I know that feeling. I went from the United States Army to working in retail at Lowe's. So, I know what it's like. But I think the city, on a city level, we can also contact Richmond for some help and tell them, hey, we got a lot of talented people up here. Something about NOVA is that we have some of the most talented government federal workers of the country. Why don't we have Richmond come help us out? And right now, I know it's asking for a lot, but we have 2.5 years, long years, that we have to deal with. But if we can get them through those years, I'm pretty sure we can help those folks out.
Okay. Roberto, did you already speak on this? Or no, this is your 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds, man.
Yeah.
Roberto Gomez coming back, 30 seconds.
Well, yeah, the federal workforce is laid off, and that's not a joke. Obviously, there's upskilling, reskilling, but I think one of the things that we're not talking about is the new jobs that are going to exist with AI coming about, and the training we can be providing looking ahead, as well as bringing in those type of businesses in here to develop some type of stronger commercial tax revenue based off that. So, I mean, we can, there's no solve for it right this second. However, our school systems are trying to absorb laid off workers. Our businesses are, but we also need to be looking forward as well, not just what's happening right now.
Tim Laderack. Now, did you speak on this? So this is your 30 seconds.
No, it just always new things spring back old thoughts that I was trying to bring out. So as chair of the Economic Opportunities Commission, what I have seen is that a lot of the resources we have in the city, and whether it be public or private, tend to be in silos, and we need to increase the connectivity amongst those resources and have some kind of overarching like web or interconnectedness. And I think the city could lead on that and help connect people with those resources that are available, which will help our small businesses and connect people without jobs with jobs.
Sandy, you want 30 seconds?
Yeah. I mean, our city is working on these things. I just want to be clear. We're being asked these questions rightly. Our city is absolutely focused and doing the best it can to take care of federal workers. I don't want to misrepresent, I don't want us to misrepresent up here that we need to come in and save the day because our city council isn't currently exceptionally concerned and working on this. The issue is there are no jobs. So when people are looking for jobs to find, we can hold all the career fairs we want unless we have jobs to give. What are we going to do about that? So these are, Roberto makes excellent points about apprenticeships and about growing our workforce so that we can attract businesses to come in, which leads back to our ALX forward plan, etc.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. I want to talk about ICE a little bit in Alexandria, and public officials in Arlington County recommend that if ICE comes to your neighborhood, you call 911 so that the local police can be there to keep the peace, to observe, to, they say, call 911. And so it makes me, this is a multifaceted question, it makes me think of How do you characterize the city's relationship with the federal government? How do you partner with an administration that Democrats are so diametrically opposed to in so many ways? So I guess if you could wrap your minds around that in a minute and some change if you want. How do you work with the federal government in light of what's happening? And if ICE comes to your neighborhood, should you call the police? Sandy?
How do we work with the federal government? We don't. I don't think we do. I no longer recognize ICE as an authority or a valid institution in the United States. I think that I'm very proud of our mayor and of our city council for taking a very strong position of, not collaborating with ICE. I've had some very long and difficult conversations with our sheriff, who I have a very long relationship with, and have, really parsed his reasoning and very directly told him how I disagree with his methods and how I'd like him to change how he participates in the justice system as it pertains to ICE. I have been working closely with Delegate Alfonso Lopez in our state legislature. Elizabeth Bennett Parker, Kirk will be there soon. There are some things we can do at the state level that fundamentally change the wording of the law that I believe he is misunderstanding. I think he is misapplying the word. I would like to make it impossible for him to do what he is doing without breaking the law, and I'd like to do it now. So I feel very strongly about this and am incredibly dedicated to protecting our immigrant neighbors from the repugnant and repulsive Trump administration and his tactics here.
Okay, Sandy. Anybody else want to talk about ICE? What to do when ICE comes to your neighborhood? What can the city do? Sandy was mentioning some things that the state can do. Have you thought about this? What's your position, Charles Sumter?
I think at the city level, we absolutely should call the police if you see ICE out and about in our community. Because as we have seen, they're not afraid to kill people. They've killed people, they've killed people across this country. So absolutely, if you feel concerned, if you are being apprehended or accosted by ICE officers, that you do call the police. And that they have to show an ID or something to identify who they are. At the city level, as Sandy mentioned, there are state things that need to happen, and we've talked about that in the last Senate debate a couple of weeks ago, but there are things at the state level. And I'm glad to see the governor's executive order that now says that you don't have to communicate with them, cooperate with them at the state level. They're a federal agency. They're here, but we don't have to help them do their damn job.
Thank you. Go to Cesar Madison Tapia, then we'll go to Roberto Gomez. Cesar Madison Tapia, talk to me about ICE.
As somebody who was here undocumented, I can tell you what immigrants feel like. We do not trust cops, and that's just the truth.
You don't trust cops?
Yep, a lot of undocumented people don't. And there's a good reason for that. Because as somebody who grew up here with the very fear of losing my family, who just so happened they were citizens and I was undocumented. That tells you a lot of the story that I've lived. The people. Guys, we're running for city council. Make that name mean something. When you show up to these neighborhoods, whether it be Chililagua or Arlandia or the West End or any other neighborhood, it means something to people when you're there. Like, for example, yes, Sean Casey, I've had also conversations with him, Sandy. I'm very disappointed in him. And he is collaborating with ICE. There is no other way around it. When this is optional, you are. There's no judicial warrant. Abolish and prosecute this. As somebody who served in the United States Army, it is offensive that these people are going after for the same liberties that I fought for. ICE should not be in our neighborhoods. I feel really passionate about this. Sorry, James.
Well, thank you very much. Your time is up. And Roberto Gomez, you're taking the mic next.
Sure. For those of you who want to know the full stance on it, you can check Mark Levine's page. He reached out asking me to respond to this. I don't just give knee-jerk responses. Notice I cited state code, which I'm going to now. I think this is the code Sandy was referring to, 53.1-218, duty of an officer in charge to inquire to citizenship, notice to federal immigration officer of commitment of alien. There's a way to tackle this from the legislative route to where if we don't like what's going on with the sheriff's practices, we can stop it at the state level. And that's the code. Look it up. Separate from that, I sit on the Sheriff's Advisory Board. I don't agree with anything that has to do with ICE, but I bring my voice to the table to serve my community, to tell the person in charge, I don't agree with it. I think our police officers should be a shield to our citizens and protect our civil rights, our constitutional rights, and that's the end of the story.
Should you call 911 if ICE shows up in your neighborhood?
Well, if our police officers are meant to protect and serve our civil and constitutional rights, the answer is yes.
Okay, who's next? Tim Laterack, talk to me about ICE, please. It's been in the news if you haven't been paying attention.
Well, I would say as an attorney, I do understand the difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant. And so on the topic of the sheriff cooperating with administrative warrants, I think it's quite plain. So I agree, of course, with my colleagues here on that front. I think, again, it comes back to the interconnectedness and this idea of the city being a leader to connect and bridge people together. I had a great conversation with labor leaders the other day talking about how we could work more closely with labor when it comes to understanding what's happening, getting communication out, helping people understand what their rights are, and really being that bridge to the individuals most affected by this. If we're going to do anything with police, I definitely want to make sure the police are at the table because they can better explain to us and help us understand what their capabilities are and who they would be, what would happen if they were to show up to that kind of situation. So I won't just posit what would happen in that situation if we were to call 911. We have a great chief of police and a great new team. I want to bring them to the table and better understand what they would do.
Thank you. Sandy Marks, please.
I didn't address should we call 911, so I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Should we and will we are two different things. There are people right now who are living in terrible conditions, who are victims of abuse and crime, who are not calling the police because there is a distrust of police, which is a rational response to what we see in the news and what many people experience in their daily lives. What I love seeing in Minneapolis and what I have no doubt will happen here and is happening here quietly. Again, we do like to talk about the things that are happening that are loud and overt, which sometimes do draw the attention of the man across the river who likes to get his news from TikTok. So we do need to be careful how we address these things in a way that actually serve the people who need the help.
Okay, you all running for city council are incredibly lucky for so many reasons, but one of them is that I'm giving you 2 minutes for this question, and also because I'm giving you a magic wand, and I'm wondering, what's the one problem in Alexandria that you would fix? You got a magic wand and 2 minutes to describe. What would you fix? Roberto Gomez, you want to go?
Why not?
You got 2 minutes. What would you fix with this magic wand of yours in Alexandria with a flourish?
Oh, nothing. We're perfect here in the city of Alexandria. There's nothing to do here. What I would fix is this. What I've heard consistently across the board from business owners, people who live in low-income communities, to the working class, is that they don't feel like their voice is being heard by city council in the capacity that it could be. I think that we have strong civic associations here, but I do not think that we have as much representation as we can in real time that doesn't require people to learn about something very fast and trust the decisions being made. I think we could open up the lines of communication so that way all the problems that we're talking about, from business to safety, are developed with the people in each neighborhood looking at Alexandria as a whole. We all have our own nuancy challenges in our own neighborhood. They look different in Delray than they do in Arlandria. They look different in Rosemont than they do where I live, in Brookville Townhomes. But I think with the right champions at the table, transferring information to the community and representing the community back to city council, which I know is something that has been done. I'm not saying the work has not been done because there's initiatives that are going on right now that are that. I think that that's what I would do. I would bring all the voices to the table that I possibly could to make informed decisions so not one area is being impacted while another one isn't. And that's actually what I intend to do on city council. That's why I'm running. I'm trying to bring all of your voices to the table.
So you would improve, and you still have a little bit of time left, so you would improve access to the community regarding, give us, elaborate a little bit more about how this would work.
Well, sure. I heard someone mention, well, I think I might have heard two people mention the stadium, right? Altogether, probably not a bad thing, but I think that
the arena, at
the
Potomac
arena,
Yard.
stadium, arena, whatever. Yes, it didn't happen, but it was trying to happen, right? I think that if we had those connections in the community, in all facets of our community, there would have been a more robust conversation with a little bit more time. I think people feel like they don't have time when decisions are being made. But if you open up the channels of communication, all of a sudden you can give time for consideration to these matters.
So a potential revenue, and so thank you very much. A potential revenue generator for Alexandria failed, you're saying, because it didn't have the buy-in. It didn't have the buy-in of the community.
Well, I did not say it failed. I said that the community could have been more involved.
Thank you very much. Magic wand question, who wants to take it? And if you could fix anything, Charles Sumter, talk to me about what you would fix with this magic wand. You can only use it once, and you got 2 minutes.
If I had a magic wand, I would fix our connectivity, how we move people about the city. If anyone has ever been on Duke Street at about 2 o'clock and you have, coming down Quaker Lane and trying to get on the pass-through, you're not moving for a long time. You're going to be stuck. And that's not just an Alexandria issue, it's a regional issue. How we move people around, how we move goods around, it's incredibly tough. But the city has been doing a lot of work in that regard through bus rapid transit, through other options, through, some people don't like the scooters, but people move about how they do. Bikes or walkability or sidewalk connections. Living on the West End, it's tough sometimes. Like you almost have to drive. And that shouldn't be the case. I hate driving. Honestly, I do. I take public transportation. And I wish we all did. But sometimes it's not an option for some people. And so how we move people around, how we move goods around, how we move services around. If I had a magic wand, I think that'll make us all very happy, right? To make Alexandria a more livable, walkable city where you don't have to get in your car to go somewhere. And I just think people just stay a lot of their times in their cars in traffic. And who enjoys that? None of us do. It's a quality of life issue. And so that's the one thing, if I had that wand, that I would just fix today.
I like to read books in traffic. Caesar Madison Tapia, what would you fix with your magic wand?
I'm going to be real with you. There's a lot of issues we have. And I think City Council currently does the best job that they can. But what I would try to do, if given the chance to be elected, is plant the seeds to success for the city. Something I've spoken a lot when people are asking, what are you going to get done? We got to really realize that what's special about this election is that we kind of get a free trial of who's going to win and see what they're going to be able to get done. Yes, we can talk about walkability. We can talk about seeing everybody. We all have that same message. At the end of the day, we're all running for you. We're not running for our egos. What I would be doing a lot is plant the seeds. When I say plant the seeds, it's starting something to get it done. If I get elected, and I promise you all these, and I get jack done, it doesn't matter if I have a magic wand or not. I'm not looking at this like, hey, yes, I could tell you, let's fix the lights. That would be awesome. That's easy. But when I talk about the actual issues, whether it be affordability, whether it be having more money for our students and teachers, I'm talking about let's plant the seeds. Let's start planning. Let's start having accountability, and let's start being more transparent to people and letting them know that we are here and that we hear you. Thank you.
Tim Laderack. You can fix anything, Tim.
Yes.
Anything.
I'll bring it right back to what I keep saying. I just keep harping on it because it was my conversation with David Speck. He asked me, what is the most existential problem that we face? It's our city's income problem. And it comes back to that commercial tax base. And I'll just keep bringing us back to that because if we can fix that, if we can get some good commercial development in our commercial corridors, the innovative sectors, talking about the ALX Forward Plan, if we can fix that, then we can actually do all of these other things that we need to do as a city. We can fund better, more frequent transit. We can actually fund our schools in the way that they deserve and the way the school board wants to fund the schools. We can move beyond budget theater and actually move on to other things. So I would fix that. That would be a number one item. And I was in the room for the arena discussion. I think that was the allure of the arena. It was going to be this fantastic commercial development that would actually help us move that needle on our income problem. That was the promise it provided. We did start to, we were heard from residents who had been here before with the other proposed stadium and heard a lot of the downstream problems that could have occurred. Yes, we need to always do more outreach, and that's what I've seen from the Economic Opportunities Commission, because we need to go where the people are and not expect them to come to us if we're to actually have true community engagement. But we have to fix this income problem, and that's what unlocks our potential as a city to be able to see all of the additional nice things that we want to have here in a progressive future.
Sandy Marks, you've got a magic wand, and I would like to know how you would use it, and also kind of the way that Tim Laterack was just saying, does it need a magic wand?
Yes,
So-
mine does, absolutely. It's a big one. Are you ready, Dan? All right, get the hand signals ready. It's going to be a long one. Okay. Easy. We need to be net zero by 2050. Let's do it right now. Magic wand, get it done. Environmental action plan, huge deal. We're way behind. We need to be retrofitting homes. Half of our homes in Alexandria need to be retrofitted with electric. We need to be electrifying our buildings. We need to be electrifying our bus fleets. There are so many things we need to do in order to reach our goals. We are behind. We are trying. It is difficult. Change is difficult, especially in this incredible financial crisis our entire country is in. Again, we set these goals. They are value-based, and it's very difficult to follow through when you're in crisis. So if I could wave a magic wand, absolutely that's what I would do. Here in Del Rey, in Old Town, Hoofs Run, everywhere you look, we have stormwater problems. Get Katie in the back, a pat on the back. We all experience that. Climate action includes flood mitigation. Climate action is climate justice. If you look at a map of Alexandria, a literal heat map, it will show you that some parts of Alexandria are a literal 7 degrees hotter than others. Because it's pavement, they're missing tree canopy, they're missing access to water. There's just so many different things going on. When you create the same heat map for any kind of social inequity, income inequality, lifespan, education issues, they're all the same map. And so environmental action touches every single aspect of our lives. So I would absolutely wave my magic wand. I would get us to net zero. It would save us a ton of money. It is a hopeful act that plants seeds for the future. None of us are going to be here when the world implodes, right? We want to extend the lifespan of this planet and this city as long as we can, because we here in this room care about future generations.
Thank you, Sandy.
The end. I was going to stop there anyway.
Roberto Gomez, you got, give me a minute, and 1 minute of, what do you think?
Well, I think this. The magic wand conversation is really fun for the sake of practice. But we have a really tight budget. We have some financial challenges. And the reason I mentioned communication is because it's going to take sacrifice across all areas. And one thing we could do, with or without a magic wand, the more I think about it, is build those trusts and bring those voices to the table. Everything we've talked about here tonight, from small business owners to ICE practices to everything, it's been about hearing from the people who it impacts. And I think that that's what we should focus on around the city. So I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, we are talking in hypotheticals, and that's great, and it's wonderful, and it feels good. But we have a very tight budget, and we have to think practically.
Thank you, Roberto. Anybody else want to opine on this? Okay, we're going to move on. Here in the heart of Del Rey, this event is being sponsored by the Del Rey Business Association. A lot of business owners, employees who are in the area, in the neighborhood, are here tonight. Why should small business owners and their employees vote for you? And go ahead and mention any connection you may have with the small business community while you're at it. But why should they vote for you And who's taking this one? Charles Sumter.
As a staffer on the DC City Council and in the federal government, my portfolio included small businesses. It was my responsibility to look at how to support them, access to capital, reductions in regulation, and meet with them on a daily basis at the council members' request. That was my very job. I talked to business owners, I talked to unions, and we made changes to our procurement and contract law in the District of Columbia to make it easier for businesses to do business with the government of DC. So that is something that I've studied. Procurement law, procurement sort of contracts, and understanding how we do business and where is a lot of red tape and how do we remove that. I worked firsthand on that. One of the first jobs I had was looking at how do we make doing business, how do we make it easier for businesses to do business. And where there is inequity in the law, we removed it. We cut it out. We amended the law to make sure that businesses had a better opportunity, all types of businesses, small businesses, women-owned, service veterans disabled, all of those businesses types I had worked on.
Thank you very much. And Roberto Gomez, why should small business owners and their employees vote for you?
Well, because if you do, I'll make all of your wildest dreams come true. I'm just kidding. Far from that. But what I can say is I'm a small business owner. I know your challenges. I know what it's like to navigate getting on the city's vendors list, permitting, all these difficulties that all of us fail for the sake of having an entrepreneurial spirit. I bring that to everything I do, and at the core of that, I would say, is solving problems for people. That's what I do in my for-profit business. That's what I do in my nonprofit business. I can tell you that if I'm elected to council, I will ensure that as we design things that impact your businesses or benefit your businesses, we will listen, we will consider, and we will make smart decisions to help your business grow, as well as your workforce. It's complicated nowadays to find people who can do a job and do it well, who can show up on time. I know, I develop career pipelines. I've solved that issue in the construction industry, and I bring results.
Thank you. Caesar Madison Tapia, are you taking it? Or Tim Laderack. Tim, all right, Tim is taking it. Tim, we're in the small business community. Watch small business owners and their employees vote for you in this firehouse primary coming up.
So, like I started out, when I started out, I've shown up for this community since the day that I got here. I work alongside of all of you to help make this community run. And you know that. You've seen me show up. You've seen me at the events where we get shirts like this. You've understood that I have this weird, crazy resume, but really at the heart of all of it is that I care about this community, and I will always show up for you. I will do my homework. I will make sure that we can get stuff done and that we can address all the root causes of any problem that you are having. That's the systems thinking approach that I bring as a naval officer and a strategist. And from my attorney background, my pharmacy background, you know that I will listen with empathy and make sure that we can make sure this, I said make sure twice. You can tell I'm nervous. Make sure that this city works for you.
Well, we certainly have a big collection of resumes in front of us tonight. Sandy Marks, please tell me, why should small business owners and their employees vote for you in this upcoming primary?
Small business owners should vote for me because they know they can count on me. They already do. When small business owners need something, they call me or they text me and make myself available. I've been the chair of the Alexandria Democratic Committee for 4 years. I've developed a strong and deep network of people and built coalitions, not just with advocacy groups like Moms Demand Action, like the NAACP, with whole organizations, with people who work in our city government, with our elected officials locally, statewide, even at the federal level. I have a friend who calls me Human 311, which I love because I love 311. But, as I said before, I used to work in constituent services. Sometimes you need to talk to a human being who can answer your questions. And so when Marianne Burstein and the, West End Business Association needs something, she needs a space, she needs a contact, who does she call? She calls me. If DRBA needs something, if somebody in the Delray Business Association needs 500 red cards to hand out to their employees to keep them safe from immigration and from ICE when they come into town, who do they call? they call me.
Thank you very
I will
much,
continue to be
Sandy.
their guy on council.
Thank you very much. Folks, I know you got everybody. Caesar Madison Tapia, please give us yours.
You guys can trust on me because I'll buy your stuff. I'm just kidding. Listen, I think you guys should trust me because I'm also a consumer, just like many of the people in here. Not all of us have the resume to have the experience of small businesses, but I understand what you guys go through because I buy your stuff, whether it be from Pork Barrel when I want some pork or I want a piece of slice over there at Benny's Pizza, which, by the way, I knew because of Fredericksburg. Anyway, no, not only that, as somebody who wants, community, as somebody who wants to come in here at St. Elmo's and get some coffee and have a conversation with the people who work here. Yes, all of them have experiences on that. But what I lack in experience, I make up with integrity and service and commitment to you guys. Because I'm also, when we talked about affordability earlier, I told you I understand what it's like. I've seen folks who I know across here in Virginia who have told me, hey, I don't have a business anymore because, I didn't get this enough of this rent, So as a consumer, I think I also bring in value to tell you, hey, maybe this coffee is a little bit too much, but guess what? I'm willing to buy it from you because I know you bring heart into this city. I know you guys every day wake up and do the hard work. I'm not trying to put stuff on corporations, but you guys are the heart of this city. Believe it or not, and thank you.
Thank you. Charles Sumter?
When I started my nonprofit, I remember figuring out how was I going to raise money? Who was I going to ask? Who's going to support my mission to support LGBTQ youth? I know what it's like to put your blood, sweat, and tears into something that you've created. The organization still exists today. I no longer have to worry about it because it's operating on its own. I understand what it's like to build something from nothing. And so you should support me because I know exactly what you're going through. I've been there. So thank you.
Anybody else want to touch on that? Okay, folks, it's about 7:50 p.m. and that gives us just enough time for closing statements. Each candidate will be given a minute to wrap things up. Share your Instagram, your website, whatever you want, but you got 1 minute. Who's going to take it? Who's going to take it first? And I will say, Roberto Gomez, take it away. 1 minute closing statements.
I've already said why I'm here tonight. My website's robertoforcouncil.com. Same with Instagram. For the sake of time, I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Okay, Charles Sumter, we can just go down the line if you want. That we'll just do it that way. Charles Sumter, you got 1 minute. Please, your closing statements.
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity. This has been a whirlwind of a year so far for me personally, but it's exciting to talk to so many of you across this city with all of your concerns, and you've invited me into your home. You shared with me when my positions might not have been yours, and you've helped change my perspective in this election. I'm not running that's to be set in my ways. I'm running to hear what folks and community members have to say. And if that means sometimes we shift, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm committed to that. I'm committed to this community. I've been here for 15 years doing work that it ain't always talked about, not always in the news. But it's work that's important. It's work that means a lot to me. And so I've been committed to this community. I'm committed to this race. I ask for your support. My name is Charles Sumter. Visit SumterForVirginia.com.
Caesar Madison Tapia, last final thoughts, your closing statements.
According to James, I'm also a famous viral TikToker. No, guys, I thank you for inviting me tonight here. I really appreciate it for you guys giving me the opportunity. I know it's scary when you see a new face around. I've lived here almost 4 years, and you guys have shown me community. And that's one of the very reasons I'm here. I'm not here from political experience, but I'm here from personal experience into what my community and you guys are doing. Yes, it's scary to have a young guy up here who's barely lived here his whole life. But I love hearing from you guys, whether it be a story about the dog store across over there if somebody got something, or was somebody telling me that we need to be a more cat-friendly city. I have 2 cats, trust me. But no, I know it's a scary look when you have a young person up here. And so far this election, a lot of your voices have been impactful for me. And whether I lose or win, I'm very thankful for you guys giving me that chance to platform myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Caesar. And going to Tim Laderack, closing statements.
Thank you all for being here and for listening to all of us. I'll just leave you with, my life has been about service. And the example of my grandfather, a World War II Navy vet, who believed that service doesn't stop after taking off the uniform. That was my example. That's why I joined the Navy, and that's why I moved here. And I feel that I've grown an experience of service here in this city since that first day that we arrived. I've been president of the Citizens Association, deeply understanding the issues affecting us here in Delray, but then moving to the Economic Opportunities Commission to see how those inequities that affect our residents here in the city are citywide, and the things that we need to do to actually help address those needs for our residents. So I've built the experience, I deeply understand the issues, I can see the systems that we need to fix to move the needle on those problems, and I want to be that person for you on council. My website's timforalexandria.com. Again, I'll just point you back to my Substack. I'm trying to be as open with you as possible about how I think and how I approach issues, because the issues of 5 years ago aren't necessarily the issues we're facing today. So I think it's important that you really understand how we think and how we'll address the modern issues that will come up in the future.
Thank you, Tim. And we're going to finish things up with Sandy Marks. Sandy, your closing statements,
Hello.
please.
This is a Democratic primary for City Council. And I just want to talk a little bit about what that means. In April, we are going to face a Republican opponent who is going to oppose everything we just talked about here. We need a strong Democratic candidate who can operate in the climate we will be in that moment, which will be under a constitutional referendum on redistricting. It will be a race. In this moment, we are not looking at a field of 15 city council candidates and choosing 6 to fill particular lanes that we're interested in. We are filling the shoes of one person. He's sitting there, he's looking down. I'm gonna embarrass him, it's Kirk McPike. He lifts an incredibly heavy load on council, legislatively, for climate, for protecting choice. I would like to be the person that fills that specific role and think that I am the person with the best qualifications for that specific job. If you go to my website, sandyforthecity.com, you can take a look at my endorsements, including Vice Mayor Sarah Bagley, including several pro-choice organizations, including Virginia's List, and many school board candidates and other elected officials, including people like Del Pepper. I hope you'll give that a look, and I'm really looking forward to earning your vote. I would love to chat if you'd like afterward.
Thank you very much, Sandy Marks. And if you all love these events so much, well, I've got good news for you. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 17th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Departmental Progressive Club, the NAACP Alexandria branch, in conjunction with the club, is going to have another candidates forum. I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be moderating, but I can't wait to see what you all say. And the date of the Democratic Firehouse primary is Saturday, February 21st. Polls will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Charles E. Beatley Jr. Central Library. That's 5005 Duke Street, and the Leonard Chick Armstrong Recreation Center, 25 West Reed Avenue. Can't make it out? You can also vote online at alexdems.org/elections. Ladies and gentlemen, your Democratic City Council candidates. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you for watching, and please share this event on your pages for us. It's Out and About with Lucilla O'Flaherty, ZTV Live with the Zebra Press. Over and out. Please share.
Will the DRBA board please make your way to the front? Thank you, James. Thank you, Dan and Rick, for your wonderful